Arrival, 5 p.m. on the dot. Not a minute later, not a moment sooner. First one in, last one out, always thus, always will. Outside, in the shadows, soon they will be there. The audience, shuffling, expectant, considering each other and what is to come, like a flock, waiting to be called, yearning to be provided sustenance for the soul, to laugh, to cry, and all points in between on their emotional compass. Entertainment at any price, within reason. Entering as individuals but leaving as an audience. The measure of success? Satisfaction. Contentment? Fulfilled. Rewarded. Now and again, fleeting faces appear from the gloom in the windows, like creatures from the deep, inquisitive of the light, of the world beyond the humdrum of the everyday, and then withdraw, retreating again as quickly as they appeared, darting back into the abyss of the world, of the reality they yearn for a time to escape, waiting for the sign, waiting for him. The front of house manager is in attendance, preparing and prepared, planning for perfection, exceeding expectations, surpassing standards, never found wanting. It is time. It is his time. It is his domain, his world, his empire. Ruled with caring, dignity, composure, possessing the utmost of love for his purpose, his calling, the epitome of service. And now the rituals may be commenced. Plumage has been preened. Evening suit, pressed. Shoes, gleaming. Double cuffs emerging evenly from their sleeves, 1 inch, always with the suggestion of a cufflink, catching the light with a modest gleam. Pocket handkerchief perfectly aligned, all coordinated, an admirable ensemble. Sartorial elegance befitting theatrical magnificence. Time now for the final check, the final sweep, the final chance, no second chance. Drinks cabinets, chilled. Thermometer, 4 degrees. Acceptable. Labels, front, always. Aligned and waiting, easing to the eye, yearning to quench. Concessions, replenished, enticing, waiting to tempt excited eyes and reluctant wallets. Packets neat, symmetrical, ordered, almost choreographed. Priceless, handwritten, naturally, copper plate, a work of art. Blue tack never ever visible, common, cheap, not in this domain, Maureen. Try again, dear. Ice creams arranged, flavour, price, size. Rows on parade, prepared for inspection, worthy of their intermission mission. All public areas spotless, spotless. Foyer carpet vacuumed in one direction, always. Symmetry, beauty, a masterpiece, Keith. Well done, you. Box office display, 1 inch margin around each poster, no more, no less. Pleasing to the eye, inviting, engaging, satisfying, demanding of admiration, begging for perusal. Ah, flyers, a work of art arranged in their folders, ordered, perfect, a veritable floral display of A5 blooms. Your finest masterpiece to date, Susan. Interval drink slips, perfectly square, precisely arranged, encamped across the bar, awaiting the legions who are preparing to advance and bring chaos to symmetry and order. Accompanying pencil placed at 45 degrees across the slips, top left to bottom right, lead at the top, always at the top. And under no circumstances ever to be removed by the patrons. It will be monitored. Don't let me down, Gordon. Raffle tickets. The obligatory 4 colours, pre-torn perfectly and evenly folded, with accompanying winning tickets lightly taped to the prices. Lightly, Stephen, lightly. Enough loose change to accommodate any purchasing excuse or avoidance, shall we say. Blue Nun, Matthias Rosé, and Cadbury's milk tray. Tempting treasures fit for royalty. What would we do without your generosity, Jen? Interval teas and coffees. A work of contemporary art, Margaret, worthy of the Tate. Modern, naturally. Cups face down on saucers, hygiene. Handles all to the right, spoons on the saucer all to the left, bowl at the top, facing up. How else? Not difficult, Sandra. Complimentary wipe of the moist variety, to the right. Standards. Biscuits wantonly, rudely, promiscuously fanned across a plate. Inviting, tempting. Oh, you are a tease, Beverly. Row upon row of finest bone china, ready for clearance, waiting for take-off. Choc chips away! Milk jugs on standby, waiting for their cue. Plastic film evenly stretched over the glinting crystal sugar bowls like diminutive timpani, poised for their entrance. All is well. The time has come, the walrus said, now fleets across his mind. For it is the moment to enter the other place, the reason, the purpose for all that has been done, for all that we are. The auditorium. Hallowed, sacred, silent. The altar has its veil of velvet still drawn, naturally. The lights dimmed, tastefully, respectfully. How else could they possibly be, my dear Mina? Seats all upright, awaiting the receipt of their prize. Alone, with only his thoughts as company, he ponders. The essence of the arts hangs in the air, like an essential oil distilled from years of performance of patrons and their passions. The smell, the taste. Inhale, savour. It clings to the clothes, infuses the consciousness, ignites the memories. Oh, and such memories. Reminding and rewarding. A treasure trove of history which teases the emotions. Exquisite. Silence. Relax. And then, and only then, alone in the shadows, unobserved, a personal and private extravagance is then permitted. Take a moment. Take it in. Now, take a bow. The front of house manager has achieved that simple pleasure, the only reward that counts. Yes, Deirdre, he is so very, very proud. His haven, his second home, the only place where he is complete. He is at peace. And where would I be without it and all of you, my dear Fiona? All is now in place, and all are now in place. Tempus fugit. The auditorium doors swing open, and momentarily time is suspended, frozen. His acolytes pause, watching, hoping for that signal, a simple smile, a knowing nod. Then, without warning, it arrives, accompanied by the heralding cry, "Places, everybody!" It sets a well-drilled flock to flight, preparing to land on their perches, poised for their patrons. The time is now upon us. History is to be repeated, wheels to be set in motion. All eyes again on the front of house manager, all eyes resting on his every nuance. All eyes again await the next look, the next gesture, the next indication, the code known only by those who know. He breathes in and sighs contentedly, then scans the room and considers the fiefdom before him. Tension hangs in the air. Hold your nerve, Fatima, hold your nerve. Then it arrives with a flourish of his hands and a knowing, purposeful nod, delivered with theatrical aplomb as the herald triumphantly declares, "Attention, all! The house is about to open. Thank you, Cecilia. You may unlock the doors." Worthy of Tolkien, they shall now pass. He withdraws, occupies the place, his space, and observes his realm. Doors open, tentatively at first. They enter with reverence and awe, their bubble of waiting now burst. Outside, they are now eagerly, hungrily darting upwards from the gloom of the deep towards the light of hope. Excitement, anticipation is palpable, their voices low at first, quiet, almost respectful. Wave upon wave begin to land. The hush gathers pace towards a hum, now a murmur, and then distinct voices. A single laugh pierces the air, announcing that the barriers of reservation, of polite modesty, may now be dispensed with. And as one, each section of this living orchestra makes their entrance and their presence known, as dialogue overlays the underscoring of this symphony of humanity. "Over here, my darling. This way, children. Programmes on sale here. Ice creams, interval drinks. Second on your left, madam. All seats number from the left. Auditorium, straight ahead. No later than 9:30 p.m, sir." "My absolute pleasure, madam." The noise, the energy, the excitement is building. Patrons form currents through the foyer, dragging all in their wake with them. A tidal flow to toilets, a riptide to refreshments. Some vainly swim against an unforgiving sea, floundering at the concessions, taking shelter by the leaflets, and as always, a few stragglers, marooned, awaiting rescue by who else but the inevitable, the incorrigible, the unforgivable, the late arrival. "I'm so sorry, held up in the traffic." "My, we are a convincing liar, Mrs. Wagstaff. You should take up acting, dear." As always, the same. They burst upon the scene, flushed and fawning, begging forgiveness, firing apologies, which will be the same apologies again, and have ever been thus. And then, diving fervently into the foamy swell of the faithful, dragging friends who feign obligatory fury to a joyous and inevitable fate. And when the cacophony appears to have defied any further possible endurance, the front of house manager leaves his position, for the time has arrived to announce the call to prayer, and they know, they sense it. The tide pauses for a moment, and the currents shift. They recognize what is now upon them, and they will follow its course without question. The faithful know the ritual well within this hallowed place. The commands they must observe, and all will observe, and all be directed by his will. It is time. The front of house manager cuts an effortless swathe, as all dutifully give way to him as he makes haste to his post, to discharge his singular duty. No, thank you, Kirsty, my responsibility. One day, perhaps, dear. Despite the noise, the distractions, the clarion call to prayer is sounded. The trace of a small handbell slices, dances gently through the din, and all faces turn to the front of house manager as he announces, "The house is now open." As one, and in abject obedience, the tide rushes in. Even now, despite knowing their seat, the same seat for season after season, all are committed to their personal rituals. Prior to entering the temple, the faithful must conduct that final check, that final assurance that indeed the seat is theirs and is empty. All comers have no claim on their prize. Woe betide such social indiscretions. But there will be no doubts, no diffidence, no disagreements, for the final arbiter is in attendance and observing, watching. Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. I'll deal with this one, Joyce. All will defer, all will comply, or someone will know no wrath greater than that wrought by the front of house manager. They settle in their stalls and silence falls. Momentarily, it is broken by a voice, his voice, the only voice now permitted. Quietly, assuredly, meant as a whisper though clearly intended to be heard by all, resounds throughout this hallowed hall as darkness falls upon one and all. Feet down, young man. Not at home now. The faithful face the altar as the veil is drawn back. The sanctum sanctorum awaits their pleasure, that they may worship, that they may for a time escape the weight, the worry, the reality of the world. No expectations, no judgments made of them here. A time to be someone else, and watch others being others, weaving the tales of others. His work is complete for now. But not yours, Mavis, but not yours. To your post, semper vigilans, my dear. And at their post they will remain. Ye few, ye gallant few, ye band of helpers. The lights dim further, and the front of house manager withdraws to the shadows, observes from a distance, and waits for his time to return once more. And it will forever be, theatre without end. Amen.